So today I'm going to show you how to change out your drive motors on your DRT450. It might be similar in a lot of other machines, but I do know this is the way you do it on this one. I've got a new drive motor. This one is upgraded and can handle a little bit more pressure than the ones I have on here. The newer units actually come with Danfoss motors. My machine can't accept the Danfoss motors, so this is as close as I can get to doing that without having to change the mounting plate and everything and start welding and powder coating on the machine. So I'm going to show you how to do that, how to pull your track off, how to take everything apart, how to put the new motor on, and let's get into it. So my drive motor's leaking. Hopefully this goes well and I don't break the machine, and then you loosen this nut. This is so frustrating. I just don't have the tools to work on something like this. This is a job hopefully none of you have to do. I don't know how hard it is. It seems scary to me. I've never done anything like this before. So I wanted some more pressure. I wanted to turn on the grass a little sharper, and I wanted a little more oomph to it. So I asked Dean what I do, and he told me how to bump up the pressure. So to adjust the hydraulic pressure in the machine, what you do is you take your 13mm wrench and you put it on this nut, and then you loosen this nut. When you're done with that, you take your 4mm Allen key and you put it in the bottom of the bolt. And you turn the bolt a half a turn clockwise, not counterclockwise, clockwise. After you do that, you take your 13mm again and tighten that nut back up. And then you move over to the other side. On the other side, you want to do the exact same thing, and I bumped up the pressure. Well, after doing that, after a little bit, I sprung a leak. So my drive motor's leaking. That is not an issue on any current models or from the last few months moving forward, because they have the new Danfoss motors, which are a lot better. I sent him a couple pictures and told him about it, and he immediately verified my address, stuck 2 brand new motors in boxes, and had them shipped to me here in Oklahoma from China. It took about a week and a half to get here, and that was a couple months ago, and I just haven't changed it because it's just a small leak, but I've been beating on it a little bit and it's leaking more, so I do need to put the new drive motors on. I'm unable to have the Danfoss motors on this. I can have these nicer motors, but I'm going to put these on. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before. This is all new to me, so hopefully this goes well and I don't break the machine, but I need to pull off the track, take all this apart, and then pull off that drive motor, and then we'll get this new one put on there, and hopefully this fixes my issue and I'll be good to go. I'm going to need to start off by loosening the track tension. It's much harder to get the tracks off than it is to put them back on, by the way, if you haven't noticed. There. Bigger pry bar. Honestly, that was the part I've been dreading, trying to get this stupid track off, because I had to do it for that video. The video that I did on the track coming off, my camera shut off and I didn't record it, so I had to manually pull it off. What a pain. So yeah, that's how difficult it was. Except I didn't have a big pry bar at that point in time. Nasty. It's a cotter pin. Got to pull this dude out. Cotter pin, done. So I had to run to the store and go buy a socket because this is much bigger than anything I have. So it measured out with my caliper to be a 36.5 millimeter. And yeah, that's not something I have. So I found, I ran to AutoZone, got a 1 7/16 because the 36 didn't seem like it fit very well. But this one, got a little bit of slop, but the 36 seemed too tight, so I don't know. Anyway, this is a 3/8 or 3/4 inch drive, which I have nothing that size, so I had to buy an adapter. I've been trying to get it with this little Ryobi Impact, which usually works really well, but I've burned up 3 batteries trying to get it. Finally had to plug in my air compressor and get something with some nuts to it. So there we go. Nut is off. Finally done. So I guess that means that this little sprocket will come off now. I'm gonna suit up with some gloves. See if this stupid thing will come off. Of course not. Of course it won't. Because why would it? I mean, that would be so easy. Why would we make it that easy? Nope, nothing would possibly be that easy. There's no holes in it to do a puller. Oh my gosh, I'm ready to throw this thing away. This is so frustrating. I just don't have the tools to work on something like this. I'm sure it's not hard with the right tools. That socket, no big deal. Before I had the socket, big deal. It's the biggest puller I have, just a two jaw. This might work. Just a little update on this project. These don't work. This is not strong enough to get this off. So I got a big boy. Went to Harbor Freight, got the big boy. Hopefully this works. Let's see. This is a big old hydraulic 3-gear puller. Thing's massive. That's a big booger. It's probably bigger than I need, actually. That did it. Should I drive forward? See that fluid? Backwards. That's why I need to change these drive motors out. Ow! Mm. Ow! So the wrenches I've got here, it's a 7/8 inch for this one and a 1 16th for the one that goes into it. And now I got to take the motor actually off, and that is an 18 millimeter. That bolt is in there. Stupid. So this is the new and the old motor. They look almost identical. Colors maybe a little bit different. Right here you can see on the old one the bearing little seal popped out, and that's why we're leaking. So the old one, there you go. This is what it is. The new one, there you go. Here's what that one is. I'm tired of digging through all my sockets and wrenches trying to find the right size. So, got on Amazon, found a nice little deal. I got this set of impact sockets. Goes from 10 millimeter all the way up to 24 millimeter and down as low as 3/8 of an inch up to 1 inch with 3 different extensions. It's all 1/2 inch drive. So that'll help me out because I always need some bigger sockets. But not big enough. So I got this little kit, and this little kit is upside down. And this kit goes from, I think it's 27 millimeter up to 38 millimeter. So this has a whole bunch of big sockets, and this would have saved me a run to AutoZone the other night to try to deal with this nonsense. So I think I need a 36. Maybe not. I thought it was a 36. Awesome. I don't have the size I need in this kit. I still don't have the sizes I need. Yeah, it's pretty much a 36, but it's not exactly a 36, I guess. I measured this out to be a 36 millimeter nut, and I used it in a 36 in the store. Yeah, it's exactly 36. So the socket has to be just a little bigger than 36 if it's going to fit in there. So I'm going to go back with my non-metric tool that I just bought at AutoZone last night. And that's super disappointing. I'm not having good luck finding tools to fit all this big stuff. So this, back to my Duralast 1 7/16 inch. And that booger's on there tight. Got to get the cotter pin in. I think that'll do it. Yep. Ha! Got the cotter pin. And now I just need to bend the cotter pin out. Done. Drive motor installed. Let's do a little test run. So far, so good. Now let's get the track back on. It's my favorite part. Love it. Love playing with the stupid tracks. Gonna fire this thing up. So today I'm going to show you how to change out your drive motors on your DRT450. It might be similar in a lot of other machines, but I do know this is the way you do it on this one. I've got a new drive motor. This one is upgraded and can handle a little bit more pressure than the ones I have on here. So I'm going to show you how to do that, how to pull your track off, how to take everything apart, how to put the new motor on, and let's get into it. First off, we need to jack the vehicle up and support it. So let me show you how I do that. I need to put a 4x4 under here. I'm going to put a 2x4 under the bucket. That might save my concrete floor. Now I have that up, I'm going to jack up the rear. So I shove this underneath here, and this is where I jack it up. It doesn't have to be really high off the ground, just a little bit so that we can access it. If you've seen my track tension maintenance video, you know you need to get your 32mm offset wrench and your 16 on a wobble. And you also know I gotta have the sprocket in the right spot. This ought to let me do both of them. So the nut's loose. I'm gonna loosen the track tension now. So now I've got my track tension off, set my tools to the side, and now I need to take the track off. This is not fun. I don't enjoy this part. To be honest with you, it is easier to put the track on than to take it off. Weird, I know, but it is. I've got to make it pop off here. So what I do, I stick it back behind there. Kind of a pain. So you can see here on the track, this is where the sprocket goes and those rollers in between those teeth. Next up, we need to get our cotter pin off. I've got this 1 7/16 inch socket on my impact. Gotta hit this. Took a little bit of oops to get that thing off. I think this is the worst part. So that sprocket needs to come off, but the shaft is tapered. So it's pounded in there, and there's a key there, a little keyway that holds this in place. So I went to Harbor Freight and I got this 10-ton 3-jaw hydraulic gear puller. And it works. So I put this bad boy up here. We'll put some heat on this. Woo! Man, that was on, there was some tension, wasn't it? See this sprocket? has this notch here for a little keyway in this thing. And that little key's right on this thing. So when it goes back on, we got to remember to get that stuff lined up right. So at this point, I really need to clean this. I don't like all that dirt around all the open hydraulic lines I'll have in a minute. Let's get this all cleaned up. Got a lot of sand in my yard, so everything gets covered in sand. In case you're wondering, this is my OSHA compliant blower. Now we're looking good. I'm going to start off with my 7/8 inch wrench. And let's loosen these off. Then I've got my 1 1/16 inch wrench. It's a little loose, so it's probably supposed to be metric. But just want to make sure I can get those loosened up. Then I got my oil rag. Okay. Just to keep gravity from pulling all your fluid out, I think it's handy to do this. So I'm going to take these lines, and when I pull them out, I'm going to hang them. So you just hook the line on there and just hang it. Take the other end and hook the other line. So now gravity's not going to make those things dump. So next up, I've got an 18 millimeter, which will fit these. We need to crank these boogers off. And these are on here pretty good too, by the way. So then that thing's in there pretty good. So smack it. And that'll take it out. And then it's going to leak a little bit because it comes full of fluid. And put that bad boy up there. Line up your holes with your bolts. I'm personally against cross-threading, so I like to do them by hand at first. Get them started with my fingers, and then come in here with a ratchet and spin them in a good few turns. Feeling good that that is not cross-threaded. That one is not either. Feels good. We're going to hit this. Come on. Go forward. Now with these on, this ought to be pretty easy. So now I got my new drive motor on here. And so now I need to put the sprocket back on, and I need to put the track on. So this cute little sprocket, line up the little key. That key can come out. Make sure the key does not come out. And then we're gonna gun this thing back on. That wasn't on. This ought to do it for me. Here we go, we're gonna tension them up. And get that nuts tight. Grab my 32 millimeter. There we go.